So a quick video giving you an update on premium bonds, because from the 1st of February 2023, the price rate is going to increase from 3% to 3.15%. I'll take you through the breakdown of prizes in a minute, but ultimately the odds are staying the same. So this means that if you do win a prize, and there's no guarantee you will win anything with premium bonds, but if you do win a prize, it's likely to have a higher value. Now, I'll take you through, say, the kind of the prize distribution, maybe what you could potentially expect to be getting based on average luck, and a quick look at how that compares to other savings options. But very quickly, I do want to say, I've done a number of these videos on premium bonds. I'm not going to explain to you exactly how they work again. Do check out this video. If they are new to you, you're not sure, do check out this one here. The figures are going to be slightly different because obviously they were done a couple of years ago when the prize rate was different, but the principles are the same. So do check that one out. But let's have a look, shall we, on what this distribution is going to mean from the 1st of February draw. Actually, important to say here, this is for people who put money in a premium bond prior to the 31st of December 2022 for this February prize draw, because you have to have your money saved for at least a calendar month before it is entered into one of the competitions. So if you put any money in January of 2023, then that won't be entered into the 1st of March draw, and so on. If you put money in February, then it will be the April draw, and so on. So very important to know that if you put any money in this month, then you're going to be waiting until another month before you see any potential results from this increase. But let's have a look at the distribution of prizes. As I said, the odds are staying the same. The prize rate increases, but the odds are the same. And in reality, what this means is, I see right at the bottom down here, the total number of prizes, the column right here on the right, that's for February, the estimated, because they don't necessarily know until it's happened, and the number of prizes in January, the draw that took place at the start of this year. You can see there is a very, very small increase in the number of prizes. Hardly anything at all. A much larger increase in the prize fund is the first column and the third column. You can see an extra, what's that, £15 million available to you, which is great, but the number of prizes hasn't changed much. And that reflects, I think, that prize rate changing, but the odds staying the same. And if you do look down these columns, you see the same number of £1 million prizes, still only 2 of them, very unlikely that you'll win those. Slightly more on these other sort of larger prizes, but not a huge amount more. Really, the only significant changes are when you come down to the £100 prizes and the £50 prizes. They have jumped up by, what's that, an extra 20,000-ish, 21,000, maybe more of each of those available. And consequently, there's also a big drop. All those kind of extra prizes on the whole, they have been eaten up, taken away from the £25 prize volume. This means that if you win a prize, whereas previously you might have been getting more £25 prizes, they are the most common one, they're still the most common one, you're more likely now to get a £50 or £100 prize. Again, still £25 the most common prize, but chances are you'll get a 50 quid or 100 quid prize more compared to before. And obviously there are a few handful of the other ones. But fundamentally, that is what it means in terms of the prize distribution. What does that actually mean though for you? Because the really important thing here with premium bonds obviously is that this prize rate is not an interest rate. You can't say you will definitely get 3.15% in the same way you could look at an interest account paying the same amount and say you'll definitely get 3.15%. Doesn't work like that, because as you saw, the minimum prize there is 25 quid. So that means that if you had, I don't know, a small amount in, you would not get, impossible for you to get 3.15% back, because you'd have to have mathematically at least £800 saved to get 25 quid. But then there's all the variations of that. If you have £1,000, well, then you would get 25, but you wouldn't get the rest. So you see what I mean? It's impossible to get at least the guarantee that you'll get 3.15%. It's obviously possible to get more than that. It's possible to get £1 million or £100,000, £50,000, whatever it is. But based on your average rate of luck, in reality, the rate you're going to get is a lot lower. And it gets lower the fewer amount of bonds that you have. So Money Saving Expert has a calculator that is a ridiculously complicated algorithm that analyzes all the data and works out its rates. And it does it all in the background and words there. And you can go into, if you want, you can put in how much money you're going to put in premium bonds and kind of a guess on what you would get as an average return. It's not 100% accurate. I find it's a little bit kind of misleading at times or confusing at times, but it still gives you an idea, a gist of things. It's a great way to kind of get a sense of what's going on. But they also have their own analysts looking at that data and working out exactly what you might be getting. So this is based, what they've did for the January draw when it was 3%. So bear in mind, these figures will increase. But the kind of amounts they thought you might get based on average luck when the prize rate was 3%, if you had 5 grand saved, they thought you would get maybe £100 in prizes. That's 2%, okay? If you had £10,000 saved, they thought 225, brings it up to 2.25% as an interest rate. 25k in premium bonds, average of £600 in prizes, about 2.4%. And if you had 50k, the most you can put into premium bonds, you get average prizes over a year based on average rate of luck, £1,275, which works out at 2.55%. Of course, you might get more, you might get less, but it's just an indication of where you might be sitting. And that obviously, even with the full amount in there, is significantly lower than that 3% prize rate. Now we're talking about 3.15%. Again, we won't get those stats until after the February draw to understand maybe what that could mean. But even if these move up a little bit, let's say they move up, let's be generous. Let's say they move up by that full 0.15 percentage points that's been handed down, which they won't, but let's say they did, then you're still looking at the best of get of 2.7%. Now, that might not sound too bad, but this is where it's really important that we compare it to the best easy access accounts. Now, I will do another savings update over the next few days looking at the best rates because there's been a lot of movement right now, a lot of interesting accounts in there, but we already have seen a number of places say they're going to go above 3%. There's already a few just below it, but a number are saying they're going to go above 3%. One is a new digital bank called Crew. From the 1st of February, they're going to offer 3.03%. And there's also the savings app Chip, which I've spoken about a number of times over on the videos here on the channel. They currently offer 3%, but as a bonus. But from the 11th of February, that's going to change into a normal paying interest account. The risks and concerns that I previously expressed, they'll disappear, and that will go to 3.04%. And this is all ahead of the Bank of England base rate, the Bank of England meeting about the base rate on the 2nd of February, when you could well see those banks or other banks, again, pushing up beyond this. So I fundamentally think now that baseline we're looking at really is 3% for your savings. Even if we drop down that to 2.85, 2.9%, a number of banks around that kind of point as well, you're still going to be guaranteed a higher return than you are with premium bonds with that prize rate of 3.15%. Of course, you could get lucky. This is kind of what average rate of luck is, and average rate of luck means some people will be luckier and some people will be more unlucky. So you may well get more. You might get 3.15%. You might get even higher than that. So really, I think in terms of clear maths, certainty, savings are still beating premium bonds right now, based on right now what we've got and where they're likely to be going over the next few weeks. However, this isn't the only concern. Well, do you know what? There are 2 reasons why you might want to look at premium bonds instead of those savings accounts. One is just a bit of fun. Rather than do the lottery where you put your money in and if you don't win, it's gone. With premium bonds, that money is still yours. You're still entering a competition. You're still in it to win it. You've still got a chance of winning something. Even if it's a slightly lower return than what you'd get from savings accounts, you might get more. And I get the appeal of that. I enjoy the enjoyment from that. So you might want to go down that route if you wish to. The other one is around the tax on interest, because it's an important one to know. Premium bond prizes are tax-free. Anything you win is tax-free. And this comes into play when we talk about these increased savings rates. The more interest you earn, the more likely it is that you're going to go over your personal savings allowance. And that also has an impact based on your income, the size of your personal savings allowance. I have got a whole video looking at tax on interest. So if you're interested in this, do watch that because it goes into a bit more detail. But fundamentally, if you are a basic rate taxpayer, you have a personal savings allowance of £1,000. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, that drops down to £500. And if you're an additional rate taxpayer, and remember, from April, that threshold for that is dropping down to an earnings of £125,000 or more a year. You don't get one at all, which means interest you earn above the PSA is taxed at your marginal rate. So a basic rate taxpayer, anything above £1,000, you get taxed at 20%. A high rate taxpayer, anything above £500 is taxed at 40%. If you're an additional rate taxpayer, any interest you earn is taxed at 45%. And that has a big, big impact on your actual returns, on the real interest rate you'll get earning. Of course, there's also your ISA allowance. You can put £20,000 up to 20k in any combination of ISAs, but that includes cash ISAs if you're looking at those. But I wanted to show it to you just because you're thinking, right, I'm going to go for premium bonds right now because they are tax-free, because the prize rate is increasing. You probably don't need to worry unless you are an additional rate taxpayer or you are a high rate taxpayer with a lot of money saved up. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do head over to the blog, becleveryourcash.com/savings for the best interest rates on savings accounts right now. I update that every single day. And in the meantime, make sure you check out these videos right here for more ways to boost your savings.